Chitirupena ya kritsnam ekam vyapya sthita jagat namastasai 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 namo namaha. Repeated salutations to the great goddess who dwells as consciousness in everything. We're going to hear about this great goddess and how we encounter her everywhere. In fact, life itself is an encounter. The moment you have life, you encounter the world outside. We are not going to talk about those strange or close encounters. But every encounter, sometimes it enriches us, sometimes it makes us miserable, sometimes it makes us impoverished, sometimes it makes us happy. But the residue is we come away from all encounters a little wiser. Knowledge. So when we are living in the bodies interacting with this external world. The external world is extremely dynamic, and so is also the internal world. And we encounter this world, not really knowing the nature, the metaphysical nature. We know superficially what it looks like. These encounters are both external as well as internal. We encounter also our own minds. The mind kind of is an intervening factor between me and this external world. So I'm going to lay out to you what exactly is this great goddess and how we encounter. In fact, like I mentioned, we are encountering her every time, every moment. It's just that we encounter the great goddess unknowingly, while The mother knows that she is encountering us. So it could be appropriate to say that, yeah, we may not know, but the mother knows, and she is encountering us at every step of our life. So what does the goddess and great goddess mean? These ideas are very old. In fact, our ancestors were all great mother worshippers. It was only in the intervening period that we kind of ditched the mother for the father. And I feel that was a big mistake. And with the advent of Sri Ramakrishna, we are seeing a kind of a revival in this ancient mother worship. The divine feminine who was in charge of birth and death, who represented cyclic nature. This divine feminine, from the fertility goddesses, from the figurines that we have, 1,000, 20,000, 30,000 years old. And they're found all over. In every culture, you had these goddesses being worshipped. So we can call her the celestial or the divine or the supreme being. The goddess is a goddess. We don't need to elaborate on that. But also, she has been in a long life journey and has played an important part in our lives and in the history of the world, in the spiritual history of humanity, let me say. Try to visualize our ancestors, thousands of years, maybe millions of years ago. They are going around and they see the dawn and the thunder and the rains and the volcanoes and earthquakes. The entire nature impinged so heavily on their mind. This was the beginning of venerating nature. They saw the powers, they saw the sublime side of nature as well as terrific side of nature also. They couldn't comprehend what these powers were. At the same time, they knew, yes, there's a benign side and there's a terrific side to it. It was more powerful than them. And these various natural phenomena were endowed with personalities. That's a natural way. You see a tree moving and then there's an elf in that tree. And we all went around. There are forest nymphs, and there's a deity of this pool and that river and that lightning and thunder. And we went on multiplying these deities over and over. The nature worship is the beginning of all religions. Something that is extremely powerful, at the same time extremely close to us. They were creatures of nature. They knew nature intimately. They knew that this is what nourished us. They knew what sustained us. And the idea of veneration comes in. And when these things, take for instance, a volcano erupts around you, and when you see another volcano erupting around you, you re-encounter all those things. Yes, these things have to be propitiated. Then started the rituals and the prayers and the significance of, you can say, those phenomena kept on growing in our minds. And as we sat around the fires and we spoke about all these various phenomena endowed with personalities now, we started building mythology. Mythology began here. It's an ancient you can say, trait of the human mind, which hasn't left us and will not leave us. If we can't build some sensible mythology, we will build some insensible mythologies like Superman and Batman and everything. It is there. We just can't avoid spinning all these stories and tales of the heroes and superheroes, all these things. So these gods and goddesses, as early humans went on encountering newer and newer environments and newer peoples, they actually became more enriched. Their religious life was enriched. They met people who had also cultivated some form of goddesses. So these goddesses went on multiplying, gods and goddesses, of course. And we find a proliferation. People say, like, that's paganism and idolatry. We've been doing it for millions of years, and suddenly some guy says paganism is idolatry. We've seen how these forces, these endowed with personalities now, sustaining the religious life of the people. And so it went on multiplying and multiplying. In India, they call, oh my God, see the number of gods and goddesses they had. Terrible. Why? But that is exactly what we are supposed to do. Why should one coat fit all? I cannot understand. We have a kind of a uniformity. That's not religion. That's morbidity. When you have your own ideas of religion to express according to your own nature, your own personality, that is freedom. So all over the world there was these goddess and goddesses and all these proliferating, but they never saw the other side of the genius of this proliferation of these various deities. The sages abstracted the best qualities and also the worst qualities, of course, qualities here. And they made a meta-goddesses. It's always that. Swami Vivekananda says, unity in variety is a plan of creation. And we have a very faint inkling of this thing. We see the variety, we see the different objects, and at the heart of this variety and this different objects, we know that there is unity. There is unity in life. The unity of matter, for that matter. Everywhere there is unity at the heart. People look at one side, at the surface side of things, and we are different, and they are different, and that is different, and this is different. No, you've not understood your own self and the nature of the world outside. There is unity. So unity in variety is the plan of creation. So all these gods and goddesses then were nothing but a manifestation of that one primal ancient mother goddess. That was the unity. And this was how we found that the ancient sages, when they wrote these books on the goddess, they show various goddesses emerging from her and merging back into her. There is one primal force. Now, is this speculation? Well, Swami Vivekananda, he says, I believe there is somewhere a great power that thinks of itself as feminine and as mother. This he tells Sister Nivedita when she asked him about Kali, and we had a wonderful song, the opening song on Kali. So this was the power, and the power behind everything. Now, when we encounter this world, there are times like, this is the world outside here, we encounter it. Take, for instance, suppose a bull comes in. What does the bull see? Every encounter depends on your sensibility, your sensitivity. A stupid person gets into an art gallery, and what does a person see? What does a person encounter? Nothing. While a person who has refined sensibilities, that person sees art, his creativity, and beautiful ideas, and that guy gets into a rapture. This is an encounter. The same thing is encountered on different levels by different minds. It depends on your sensitivity, how you have cultivated yourself. So, we encounter this world through aesthetics. Some people who look at this external world and bring out some music, some tune, and art, and literature, and sculpture, and even science, because you're trying to find the fundamental laws behind what you encounter. Every aspect of life is through encountering. At a deeper and deeper and deeper. At the deepest level, what do we encounter? Consciousness. And at the deepest level of consciousness, what do you encounter? That great goddess. So we have the instrument of encountering the goddess, but then we have yet to culture it, refine it. And that's what the whole of religious or spiritual life really means, to encounter this goddess knowingly. There's so much for philosophy, there's so much of There was Tota Puri. He was a guru of Sri Ramakrishna, Vedanta guru. And he, from a very young age, he was trained to dismiss this external world as illusory. He never believed that the external world existed at all. And he grew up there. He trained himself, he practiced his spiritual discipline like that. And when he encountered Sri Ramakrishna, as we know, he used to stay only 3 days in one place. But he lived there with Sri Ramakrishna 11 months. And every time he's saying, it's time for me to leave. Oh, no, don't bother. Just wait for a minute. Or you should divert him with some scriptural topics. And towards the end of his stay, he had terrible colic pain that really was pulling his mind down even away from meditation. He used to extract his mind, pull it up, raise it up, and meditate. But one day, his mind was simply dragged down by that pain. He endured it for some time, and that day he couldn't. What he did was saying, enough of this rubbish idea of a body. So he waded in the river Ganga. The Ganga is really deep, but that day as he waded, there was only ankle-deep water. He reached almost in the middle of the river. What happened? There's not enough water to even drown my body. And then the author of the great master says, as if somebody pulls the veil out of his mind. And what does he see? In his own words, the omnipresent divine mother, cosmic mother, omnipotent mother is in the water, Mother is in the land. Mother is the body, and mother is the mind. Mother is illness. Mother is health. Whatever I see or imagine or think is mother. Mother is life, mother is death, mother is knowledge, mother is ignorance. Saying no embodied being can ever, go beyond her jurisdiction until she is pleased to release him. She makes yea of nay and nay of yea. No one even has a power to even die. Again, the same mother is beyond the body, beyond the mind, and she is transcendent and devoid of all attributes. So this was that cosmic vision of the Divine Mother he has standing in the middle of ankle-deep water, which is not supposed to be ankle-deep. Yeah. And he sees the luminous form of the Divine Mother pervading everything. Like there was no water and there was no land, there were no trees, but everything was nothing but the luminous form of the Divine Mother. External as well as internal. This was his encounter, the first encounter with the Divine Mother. And after seeing her cosmic form, the great monk Totapuri came, waded back, and sat down. His heart was at peace and he was full of bliss. And he meditated and chanted the mother's name. Till that time, he used to joke with Sri Ramakrishna, make fun of him, say, "What are you clapping? Are you making that chapati, that Indian bread? Why are you saying I'm making these chapatis? I'm praising the Divine Mother." Saying, "Oh, this guy, he'll lose all his illusions about reality now. Wait, once I start teaching him." And it happened that Totapuri himself had his illusions about the illusion vanish. So this was his encounter. And after he had encountered, and then the colic pain that was troubling him vanished. Yeah, he was back. So like he said, mother is a pain, mother is a disease, mother is life and mother is death. You can't get away from this. This is the highest, you can say, encounter with the Divine Mother. Transcendent, yet very intimate. Mother is transcendent, yet intimate. So all the various gods and goddesses and how many gods and goddesses we have managed to, you can say, formulate or worship. It's 3.3 billion. Why not? I don't know why we stopped there. Of course, we haven't stopped there. It's going. You can keep on counting. So 3.3 billion. Why? Yes. But there is actually one God, one meta goddess, pervading everything and everybody. So when Sri Ramakrishna himself, when he began worshipping the Kali, the image, you can see, he's saying, traditionally they were never priests. They used to worship their family deity, but to be a priest was kind of degrading. But he had to swallow all his, you can say, family pride, because his elder brother also had become a worshipper of this. So as he began worshipping, he used to wonder, are you just an image? Are you conscious? Are you real? These questions used to impel him. And as he began worshipping one day, and he wasn't getting any answers. So in the temple, there was a scimitar. He grabbed that and wanted to do away with his head. And at that moment, he says that the doors, windows, floor, everything, the whole temple vanished into an ocean of light. And saying, from all sides, waves of consciousness were rushing towards him. And they submerged him, and he was dragged down in this ocean of consciousness. He panted and tried to surf, he couldn't. The external world had vanished, and what remained was just consciousness. So we have this type also of encounter. And when he came out of that state, of that encounter, he was found to say, "Mother, Mother." That ocean of consciousness was the mother. Where is this? Yeah, we are like that bull in the china shop, We don't know what's China, what expensive China, what China means, China ware. So Swami Vivekananda also says, how I used to hate Kali and all her ways. And that was my 6 years fight. And then says, I was in straitened circumstances and Ramakrishna Paramahansa, his guru, made me over to her. And he was in dire straits. And Sri Ramakrishna told him, you don't accept my mother. That's why all this trouble in life. They were thrown out of the ancestral house. They were starving, the whole family. And then he says, I could ask my guru to intervene, to intercede, and ask his mother to do the needful. When he goes there, Sri Ramakrishna says, today is a Tuesday, auspicious day, you go in the evening and go to the temple and ask the Divine Mother. And he waited for dusk, and he got into a sort of a kind of spiritually intoxicated state, saying my hands and feet were kind of showing signs of numbness. I made my way to the temple. It was dark, and he made his way. And as he entered the temple, he did not see the stone image of the Divine Mother, but she was living. And he had gone to ask for mundane favors. He went there, and when he saw the mother, he forgot all about this. I said, Mother, give me knowledge, give me devotion, give me renunciation, grant that I may have an uninterrupted vision of Thee. His heart was full of bliss, the whole universe vanished. And then, after the mood passed, he returned. His guru, Sri Ramakrishna, was waiting for him. Did you ask the mother to eradicate your temporal needs? Oh, I forgot. You go once again. And he goes once again, and he sees the same scene. It's repeated. He returns. A third time his guru said, he sends him back. My boy, try to control yourself a bit. And then for the third time also he's saying, I felt so ashamed. Here was the blissful Divine Mother. And he returned again, saying, I don't want anything. I just want devotion and knowledge and renunciation and an uninterrupted vision of Thee. The people are apt to think like, these are all kind of the creations of human mind, all these various gods and goddesses and all. Yeah. We see how we create our own illusions, and these illusions are not real. And when we create something which is based on reality, we call it that's an illusion. That's a figment. That's delusional. And we think that our life is perfect. See the number of delusions that we have, and we just can't give it up. The human mind understood that to give up these delusive, you can say, habits and thoughts, we need to hold on to reality. This is how they can. So the Vedanta concept of the absolute, it is the absolute God which is worshipped. And Vedanta comes further and says, what you see, what you worship are just symbols. Symbols representing the infinite. Don't mistake the symbols for the infinite. They represent, they signify the infinite. It's always like that. You never worship an idol. You never worship a stone or a tree. Never. I mean, if you think you are, then you are a real idolater. And that your ideas need to be broken, not a stone or the tree or the idol. So when we worship, we always worship the infinite. Somehow our vision gets narrowed, and this is what is my God. And then somebody said, this is my God. Let's decide it with a free fight. Who is greater? Why? And this has been the depressing history of humanity for the last 2,000-3,000 years. Can't we get it into our heads? Are we so stupid that there is just one reality and everything else is just a manifestation? It appears diverse. There is unity at the heart of it. And nations and families and tribes and civilizations have gone into despair over this kind of free fight. Let's decide whose God is greater. Well, so to bring in the idea of the absolute, it's necessary to bring in the idea of the Divine Mother. Enough of all this fighting and shouting in the name of God. We should be ashamed of ourselves to have such limited ideas of the Godhead. And why mother? Yes, because she is the mother. Amazingly. And why not? The highest manifestation of the feminine is the mother. Yeah, because all these beautiful qualities are attached to it, like unselfishness and love and sacrifice and compassion, all these are the beautiful qualities, and no wonder we want to make just a divine goddess as a mother. Not, even though there are representations or symbols of the Divine Mother as a warrior goddess, like Durga, or Kali, killing. But they are killing ignorance. And this Durga and all, these were all old goddesses. Cybele and Inanna, all these which were worshipped in ancient Greece and Turkey, which is now Turkey, they were all they're warrior goddesses, riding on a lion and carrying a spear, living in the mountains. This was very pervasive, these ideas. They were the protectors, the mother as a protector. So these ideas have slowly been percolating down. And it's time that we renewed it. Last week we had gone to immerse the statue, or you can say the image of Kali. And we did that. We had a great time. Of course, there were some who were, why? Why should mother go? Why? But that's the idea of the worship. She has come from the cosmos and goes back to the cosmos. She is the cosmic mother. This is just a symbol. And how do we worship her? By becoming divine yourself. When you worship, in the Hindu form of worship, it is you have to awaken your own divinity in order to worship that divinity. Otherwise, your worship is not a real worship. So, Devam Bhutva Devam Yajet. You have to become a god to worship a god. So this is, and then you retract divinity, put it back into you. This awakens your own divinity. Right now you can worship the infinite through this symbol. Later on you won't have to have a symbol to worship. You can worship. Your worship has become cosmic. All those old phenomena that the early humans were afraid of and were confused and were terrified, and the dawn and you can see earthquakes and volcanoes and raging storms, and imagine it's pouring raining and floods everywhere, and it's dark, and all those things that terrified you, that we encountered. Now we need to have that veil taken away from our minds and see the cosmos and encounter it at the deepest level. So we say, we don't immerse the statue in the water. And that is kind of a ritual. But we need to immerse ourselves in the Kali, in the mother. That is the highest point of encounter. When you encounter the mother, and as the mother is never different from the child, you are part of that mother. Somehow we have been thinking we are separate from nature, and this nature has to be exploited for our own benefits, and then we find we are in the middle of a fifth mass extinction. All around us things are becoming extinct, dying. We are in the middle of a great dying. And we are partly responsible for this. So this will bring in the idea of compassion and love for all living beings, for the environment. We are talking about these huge conferences, international conference on climate, COP24, 22, whatever in Scotland. What? Why can't we bring in this idea of divinity, that we are by nature deeply divine beings? And that's the reason why we have been projecting all these gods and goddesses. We have to project it because it's our own divinity that's calling out to us. We can't get into us subjectively, so we objectify that ancient urge, the ancient urge which has been implanted in our hearts. And if we can do that, we'll build a new chapter in the history of humanity and the history of worship and the worship of the Divine Mother. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. I could have gone on and on and on. I'll leave some time for questions after I meet some people here. And then,
Shine your light on me, thy my
Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Buddhirupena Samstita Namastasai 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 Namo Namah. Salutations to the goddess who dwells in all beings as intelligence. Of course, there's a long list of things that she dwells within us. As intelligence, as sleep, as hunger, as thirst, as beauty, as compassion, as faith, as order, as shadow, as satisfaction, as a mother, and even she dwells in us as our own mistakes. She is that great goddess. Om, peace, peace, peace. So we have next Sunday Krishna Prana speaking on thankfulness. Thanks. I'll take a few questions if there are. Of course, there's nothing to I think that's clarified.
Robert, I'll ask the obvious question. Why Thakur, who was basically had the experience of mother in the cosmic form, whereas Thakur, who was very much of a bhakta on the outside anyway, had the experience of light.
Experience of a light.
Of light,
Oh,
mother as being light.
Yeah. Well, why? Why is the experience? Why is this encounter? We have encounters let's put it like this, that Totapuri, he was unknowingly worshipping that same Brahman, not knowing it was the mother. Okay? And the mother kind of took that veil out and saying, that which you have been worshipping is me. There is also a greater historical, it's very important for this stage of human growth and life that the ideas of the absolute had to be made practical, demonstrable, and this was the turning point in the spiritual history of humanity, where the whole world outside is not supposed to be dismissed as an illusion, but it has to be accepted as a form of reality. So this is what Swami Vivekananda preached, and Turiyananda even last day, the world is real, the world is established in Brahman. So in order to make this Vedanta practical, it had to be through these two great encounters. The mother showing that I am not illusion. I am the power of Brahman. And so it's the same, the snake in motion and the snake kind of still. You get the idea. Why? Say, why did it happen? Now, I'm not going to speculate on why, but this ocean of light that Sri Ramakrishna saw, he says it was an ocean of light. Yes, he was submerged in that. But when he emerged out, he came out saying, Mother, Mother. So that ocean of light he identified as Mother, the Mother in the cosmic form. Now, when Totapuri saw it, he saw that cosmic form as trees and plants and birds and everything. It was that the cosmic form had taken this form of the universe. They say that this is the step from where you transcend and go to the formless aspect of that reality. You still see it as light. And after that light, then there is no more cognition. So then it's just that you have become that. There is no internal or external. There is no, there can't be an objective experience anymore. So let's put it like Totapuri's experience on this level, Sri Ramakrishna's on this level, without the particular forms that Totapuri saw. And then he went and merged. So much for the great experiment that humanity will start proceeding from this experience. So every religion has started with an experience. And the doctrines and all the books and all, they are expressions of that experience in order to recapitulate that original experience. But we forget the whole thing. And we are, you can say, caught up in these expressions. The religious expression, the rituals and mythology and this, all these things. So every experience, like when Buddha, he experienced nirvana, that experience was the beginning of something called the whole Buddhism. Or when Christ had an experience, or when Muhammad had an experience, when all these great, you can say, incarnation, the prophet experienced something, that power rolled down. And it's rolling down for thousands, it will roll down for thousands of years. This same thing, this experience of Totapuri and Sri Ramakrishna, these are so powerful experiences. We kind of read it and we are saying, we're struck. This will change humanity. It's going to roll down and over and bring in the ideas of the divine as the mother. Not only the divine, but the absolute as the mother. So we can approach it without fear, without any kind of hesitation. Without trying, what will mother say? Yeah, mother won't say anything. Keep on. So I feel it is a greater significance why this mother was encountered like that. Even Swami Vivekananda, he saw that, you've seen that image of Kali, how many, 100 times? Maybe, yeah. I've seen it so many times. And that became living. At the same time, Swami Vivekananda also had a cosmic vision of the Divine Mother, which he penned in Kali the Mother. Yeah, we finished it. There.
Well, I liked your question, and I was thinking about it, and it seems to be maybe like it's just that different people have different visions of and even the universal form is a form, so it may take different forms.
Oh.
But then that, if the non-dual, wouldn't that be just one thing then? That wouldn't, obviously, that would be the same realization for everyone.
Yes, the non-dual, like I was just mentioning to Amrita, that the non-dual experience is when the subject and object is absent.
Yeah.
So when you say non-dual, it really means non-dual. There's no observing or experiencing mind. So that goes. And there are two forms of Brahman, the absolute, and that absolute itself has become relative. It's like clay that has become a clay mouse and a clay elephant. As manifestations, the clay elephant is obviously bigger than the clay mouse, but as substance it's one. So it's that same non-dual appears as taking forms. So if you experience you can say, the cosmic form of Divine Mother as a big elephant, oh yeah, that's good. And then as the mouse, yeah. It's the same thing, but on a different level. So as your capacity to experience grows, so will the experience becomes more and more intense. So Swami Vivekananda gives an example of a small kind of aperture in a screen, and you are looking at something across and behind that screen and aperture, and then the whole slowly becomes larger and larger. Nothing changed. You don't change. Now the scene behind has changed. This has been evolving. So that is what. How much spiritual strength do you need? You need tremendous strength. Because the nerves have to be extremely, extremely fine and sensitive. Even the slightest disturbance in food or whatever can upset you. And we see it in the life of Sri Ramakrishna himself. So for that experience to be held within your individual mind and body, it has to be made pure and perfect. And if you can do that, you'll have greater and greater visions. Oh yeah. So like I said, mentioned sensitivity, that sensibility. If you're on this level, you will experience this world as this. If you go slightly higher, you will find something else.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think that between her example, Totapuri seeing the universal mother all around, the formless mother as one thing, and Sri Ramakrishna seeing it as the effulgent light, I guess what I was trying to understand is that's just two different people's different view of the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when I see it as, I see it as an image. Okay, that's my encounter. That's fine. Mm-hmm. But there are some with greater. And it is necessary for us to not become static about this is, otherwise we might tend to become dogmatic. This is the only way. No, sorry. There are higher and higher and higher experiences. So it's like that. So Sri Ramakrishna gives the example of, you can say, piece of ice, which is same as water, but when it melts, so when the sun rises, that ice melts and becomes water. Similarly, the forms melt with the greater idea of knowledge into the formless. You know what? If you see, we are a very complex, we have both aspects, the formless and the formed. Try to think of yourself as a person your ego. You can't say it remains here, it is here. It's kind of a diffused all over. So there's a kind of even the ego is kind of formless there within you. At the same time, you say, this is me. At the same time, where exactly is it? Yeah, this parietal lobe and the sense of self and this and that is just the nervous, you can say, system. But you are actually both the form and the formless. Because in the Upanishads, they say, Vivido hi Brahmarupa, Murta cha Murta cha. The Brahman has two forms, the formed and the formless. And both are here, everywhere. So when we are centered, our gravity, sense of gravity is on the formed, we're saying, the formless. And then we come this side and say, hey, that is, it was considered an illusion. But no, it's part of the same. And this is what Sri Ramakrishna say, like a snake in motion and a snake still. It's the same snake. So even you say mind, this mind has thoughts and emotions and has will and this and that. At the same time, the mind itself is formless. I was reading yesterday, some books and keeping myself updated. To understand cognition, these now neuroscientists are talking about, you must be able to bring in the external world and other people to understand individual cognition. Amazing. Saying you just can't encapsulate the whole of this dynamic process of cognition in your own brain. The external world has to be brought in along with other minds. What a wonderful, you can say, development. We were talking about, even science and some scientists talking about an extended mind, a collective mind. So your mind itself feels as if it's here, but at the same time it's outside also. It is extended, it is extending beyond you. So slowly, these ideas are coming everywhere. There's the idea of the unlimited, the infinite, smacking into us and saying, come out of your narrow shells. Don't be confined only here. So this, social intelligence we speak about, and the collective intelligence we speak about, they're talking about now, there is a necessity of bringing other minds to explain individual cognition. Oh, wonderful. And there's another development, like in a hilarious way, National Geographic had brought out a kind of a series on which Greek god or goddess are you? So they enumerate the qualities of the Greek god or goddess, and you see, do you fit in? But they're doing it for kind of in a way, kind of hilarious way. But actually, this is the fact. It's a truth. We have been worshipping various deities. I didn't want to bring this up because I thought, guys, it's going off the handle. We worship the particular god and goddess according to our personality. Yes, and it is imperative that we understand this. You will be oriented towards this. Like in the life of Sri Ramakrishna, disciples say, I like Ganesha. No, you don't like her. Your ideal is Shiva. Okay, yeah. He is doing the corrections. So you will be pulled into worshipping that particular aspect of Godhead, which is consonant with your personality and character. And that will be liberating. That will make you really kind of spiritually, you can say, grow. So though they are kind of tomfoolery there, but then in India, this is in India, like even the mantra that you're given has to be according to your tattvas. That is a certain composition of your inner and outer life. So Sri Ramakrishna is saying, okay, yeah. I remember there was a monk here, and he came to India to be initiated, and then he was initiated, and then he wasn't very happy about the mantra. So he told his guru, well, I don't want this mantra. Why don't you give me the other mantra? He said, no, you keep on doing this. So he wasn't very happy. He had been given a Jesus mantra, amazingly, and he wanted a Ramakrishna mantra. So the guru said, no, it's okay, you go. And he was confused, and he was angry, and he was agitated, and after a couple of days, he was sitting for Vespers, and then the brahmachari beside him, the brahmachari, I think a monk, this guy is elbowing this way. See. So he's saying, what do you mean, see? Keep quiet. Don't make a scene here. That monk was seeing the figure of Christ where Sri Ramakrishna was. And then he ran back to his guru. This is what I see. I know. Well, you have been worshipping Christ for a few lifetimes. And this is your line of least resistance. This is what it is. So, you find out which Greek god or goddess you are now. Okay. Yeah. Wait. Durga? No. Okay, yeah. So we can wind up? You have? No.
You have a question?
Okay.
No.
Oh, yeah. What questions? Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.